What's going on, boys? Thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers. Subscribe to our Patreon free for behind the scenes stuff. Arm yourselves, life stuff. This one's probably going to be a little disorganized, but it's been on the mind. I've been listening to a lot of Terence McKenna lately, and he's mentioned a few times the way any time any substance gives you a true look at what reality is and what it's here to do, almost always that information is scrambled afterward, you forget it afterward, or it's just incomprehensible afterward. You get to see it, but you don't get to keep it. And I'm very interested in Terence McKenna, but listening to him always brings me back to some basic questions. If psychedelics instruct people and it's or they're presented to preach particular messages between substances or between plants, then why don't any of these doctrines stick and prove useful on a larger scale? Or why don't they stay consistent the way they're supposed to, supposedly, between people who take them? As in, if these substances have the answers, then why don't we see those answers? Why don't they work? Or why don't the principles underneath them, why don't we see those principles underneath other things that people are trying to do? And then why is it with psilocybin, with one group of people, you get the we're all connected or some grand destiny or togetherness thing mixed with the confronting of one's own evil aspects or what have you. And then if you go digging with other subsets of people, you get potent instructions in evil. Or more generally, if substances in general are instructive or possess answers, why does someone like Joe Rogan exist? And then that leads into you can extrapolate what we're talking about with substances into philosophical or spiritual schools or teachings. They're all supposed to have answers and they don't. It seems like everybody has the answer, and then that's not the case. And within all these things, I'm not saying nothing's going on or what's happening is worthless. It's more like there is a lot of instruction going on and we aren't going anywhere. But looping what we're saying here back into what we started with, it also seems like we are not supposed to get anywhere. Or we're restricted from learning or achieving above a certain point. And I was thinking today, maybe life, or in life, achieving something or ascending is not the goal. Or if it is the goal, then it is hidden so far out of the way, so obscured, and so difficult, it is not supposed to be for most people. But when you say most, how much is most? That's got to be a whole lot of most, because it seems like nobody has the answers. Some people might say things you like, but or agree with that make sense to you, but those things are not going to help you ascend or achieve some ultimate knowledge. In life, instruction, not just from other people, or not even from other people, but the world itself seems designed to instruct you or to help you instruct yourself. And in the world, there is an abundance of instruction and almost no to no answers. I'm wondering if we're here to learn how to learn. Because you have so many opportunities to learn. It's not going to get you anywhere, but you can learn something. that, if it's suited to you, might get you somewhere, if not anywhere near this ascendance or total mastery thing. And there's so many different sorts of people and so many things you can learn. For example, I hate the Reddity channel awesome type of person, but certain people instruct themselves in that or are instructed in that, and they succeed. And what are you doing? You are scrounging, looking for something because these other things are not suited to you. And then you find something. What do you find? It's not an answer, it is another set of instruction that might be a little better suited to you. So you can do better, but not the best, the ultimate. Because reality does not want you to have the ultimate. But it's always dangling an awareness of something more, something other out there you could know, or that could be known, if not you know it, or could be achieved. And that awareness, or maybe even vision, maybe you do trip on some psychedelic and witness it, and then that knowledge is taken from you. So you're stuck back in the mind that you need to have to do what you're supposed to do. The same reason they give you an awareness of something. So you will go out and seek instruction or instruct yourself or allow yourself to be instructed by the world. Because again, the world does instruct you a lot of the time. Those weird didactic synchronicities are no joke. And for me, as someone who's never used psychedelics, those synchronicities take you as close to total belief in this something or this other as you can possibly be, because what else could it be? These synchronicities. The way things seem to unfold. Unfolding in ways designed to keep you hungry. Hungry for success, hungry for knowledge. And on this structured existence level, people will constantly try to tell you there must be some objective reality we're all perceiving, some objective concrete source, because we're all perceiving something, even if we perceive it differently. But what makes you know these people exist to perceive anything? How do you know they aren't part of the illusion? And I'm not taking that threat position, the only thing that exists is you. I'm not taking that position. What I'm saying is this existence is built to instruct. You're saturated with learning or opportunities to learn. And for you right now, know where ultimately to reach. And I don't believe this is just the way our minds have evolved to make us more successful. Or if that is what's going on, it's, again, not going on in the way we think it would. We don't have consciousness strictly to get more shit and have more kids. Our concerns and actions are too strange and inconsistent for that, and it seems like that's always been the case. So why do we have the psychic superpower that is sentience if it's not strictly serving us on an individual propagating your genes level? Have we already jumped into some superorganism level? Why do you think about abnormal shit? Because you're the part of the whole that is supposed to think about the abnormal. Why are you disconnected from society at large? Because you're the part that needs to be disconnected from society at large. Fulfilling purposes we, the small and small-minded, haven't started working out yet because we're more concerned with trying to socialize each other to act the way we want them to act. Because if that's what you're doing, you're the part of the whole that's supposed to socialize people. It's supposed to be trying to make everybody act the same way. That's the right side, we're all one side of things. Or do we have this ability and have been dropped into this world of learning and instruction, sometimes self-instruction, sometimes coincidental instruction, sometimes more supernaturally guided instruction, because we as individuals are supposed to learn as much as possible and seek out that obscured hidden ascendance anyway, even though it seems like nobody really has ever achieved it. Or if they have, we don't know about it, or we're interpreting them in different ways. It's hard to say. But that's the left side of things. One of the things that has started to stand out to me is McKenna's distaste for the non-substance supernatural. I don't know why he's so averse to something that seems so obvious, even if it's hard to get at. I think that's why I still prefer Alan Watts, even though I do find McKenna very interesting. I'm a lot more curious about McKenna, because Watts makes perfect sense to me. Or a better way to say it, because that's wrong, it's more like Watts is hooked into the same bullshit well I'm interested in. Because I don't understand Watts, it feels more like he's on the same frequency, and every time I, maybe once every 2 years, get back on a Watts binge, I understand what he's saying in a different way, and that makes complete sense. It feels clear consciousness is above or outside this survival of the fittest shit, even though it's attached to it. It's like you're playing a game, and then you're presented with the primary objectives, what you're supposed to do, but if you do only what you're supposed to do, what is made clear to you, you've missed something, and then the secret objectives or hidden quest lines are so much more interesting. They aren't, but that's the thing, they aren't directly presented to you, but you are supposed to go do them. That's the way this life feels to me. There are hidden things we're supposed to go do that are not presented to you, or you're discouraged from going and doing, but you're supposed to go do them. But the point is, you're still supposed to go do them. It's part of the plan. So all of this weird, or all these weird synchronicities, the way this world is designed in a way best to instruct you at all times, without ever letting you really get anywhere, this all feels very intentional. And it feels like we come back here every 2 weeks, even if it's not on the channel. Why? I had this weird, almost asleep, exhausted vision. I haven't been sleeping very well. What if knowledge edging, or success or strife edging, are the equivalents of really good soil? What if our endgame, or not even specifically our individual endgame, but our species endgame, is we've been implanted with this feeling there is more to know, or there is some fight coming we must prepare for, because in the end, for our species, there is something to know, and there is a fight coming, but you'll never know it, and the fight is annihilation. In the sense, we're being grown as an entire species, lineages, to be harvested at the very end. And whatever is being harvested has to do with the consciousness or the sort of consciousness these others are cultivating in us. If you saw the truth, you wouldn't want to know anything and you wouldn't want to fight because there's no point. However, if you weren't cultivated at all, then you wouldn't be able to know anything and you wouldn't have the capacity to fear an incoming fight or terror on that much larger scale. So it's a balancing act between keeping you aware enough to keep moving or to keep growing and expanding your consciousness without actually learning anything, because if you did, you would drop out immediately. That's why there's so many different schools and disciplines and philosophies, because it doesn't matter what you think, it just matters that you think. For this harvesting purpose our species would serve in this idea. And I listen to my intuition on these things. My intuition says that's not what's going on, but can you really trust your intuition? Or are you a thing that can trust? That's another way to look at it. Your ego, your consciousness, is the off-gassing of a chemical reaction, and when you die, nothing's really lost because you weren't really something to begin with in the way you think you are. But I still listen to instinct and intuition because if nobody else got me, instinct and intuition got me. I'm just frustrated with them through for no fault of their own. Instinct and intuition say existence is constructed in a way designed to instruct you or ideal for instruction, but we don't know why or how or to what end. It's like gravity. You can observe how it acts, but feign no hypothesis as to what causes it or why it is. And there is something other, or maybe many somethings others, pulling the strings, keeping you perfectly between, or perfectly at suspicion. The highest level of suspicion. I am 99% certain there is something else, but that integral, keystone, 1% is being kept from you and dangled just outside your capabilities. The thing you feel almost totally certain exists is keeping your complete awareness of it, or certainty of it, just outside your abilities, just outside your knowledge. It needs you to feel doubt. Even the peak synchronicities, I can still doubt. I think there's something going on there, but you can still feasibly doubt them. I've had one experience in my life that I would consider undeniably supernatural. As in, maybe other people could doubt it, I can't. And that's why I'm hunting this shit. Trying to figure out what that was. That one experience was enough to alter the way I look at things forever. Why are we here learning to learn and being kept from knowing? Why are we kept in this equilibrium? And why sometimes are we allowed out of it? Either something reveals itself to you, or you use one of these substances and get a taste of something or an encounter with something. But again, not in sober state, usually. And what was going on with a dude like Jung? And even with Jung, he seems like he wasn't an answer, or didn't have all the answers. It seems like he was more like an individual within which that veil is thinnest. It's still not totally up, it's still not totally gone. But then again, it's not like, at the very beginning, it's not like one school or path of instruction is correct. It's more like there are consistencies between sorts of schools or doctrines. And we didn't invent them, they've always been there. We just stumbled into them. What else might we stumble into? I hate this shit. I mean, I love it. I just hate that we're being kept in suspense. I hate that that's what reality is. At what point do we no longer need to be kept in suspense? Is it death? Well, all people die, so does someone who lived their entire life not doing what they were here to do, or what the world was constructed for, are they released from suspense? Are they released from everything? Or is the world constructed totally differently for different sorts of people who are here to do different things? Is this entire planet like a training facility, different training facilities with overlapping areas like a Venn diagram? It's not one sort of person who's being trained here, it's all sorts of people being trained here. What's in not knowing we're supposed to learn? What's in the agitation we're supposed to learn? Because not knowing makes me feel agitated. What are we supposed to learn from the agitation? It seems like these days, my overall life feeling goes from, it's either hatred or confused, disconnected nonsense. Either I hate this with every fiber of my being, or this is so not real, I'm confused as to why I'm living in it. Or is this the way, if we go back to the organism example, is this the way certain cells are supposed to feel and think? Feel them to the point there to them can be no other option, or that these odd things are the point of reality. Just other cells, resources, or strategies they can turn into different things. You're the guy in the mines pulling the coal out that more organized cells will turn into what they're actually supposed to be. I don't know. I don't know, and it kills me, and I want to know. Is this reality a conceptual Skinner box? Are you playing a gotcha game, but with ideas? We're going to talk in circles endlessly, so we're going to cut it here. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.